Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you. Today is January 14th. Today is the move of NXT from Thursdays to Wednesdays. This is the start of the hype of the big week of professional wrestling. Of course, with NXT moving to Wednesdays, we've got SmackDown moving to Thursdays, and then we also have Impact jumping all the way to Friday. So all of these shows, in order to get people jumping in, are all going to be having big time events coming. Tonight's NXT show was started off by the opening match, which was Tyson Kidd going up against Finn Balor. We also have a big match for the NXT Championship, the rematch from the Arrival pay-per-view, putting Sami Zayn going up against Adrian Neville. And then, of course, you've got the battle of the big guys. Dempsey is going to be taking on his big arch rival later on in the night. Of course, if you wait till Thursday, tomorrow is going to be the Daniel Bryan versus Kane match, which a lot of people are really looking forward to seeing the return of Daniel Bryan. The one reason why I really like NXT, I finally figured it out on my drive home as I was trying to think about, watching this show when I got home. I think the one thing I really love about it more than anything is that it's only an hour. After that, I also like the fact that it's a lot like watching WWE Superstars. When I was a kid. Basically, back in the day, they had a big roster of guys back in the 80s. And, the show was only on for an hour every weekend. And then, you didn't get to see all the guys. In an hour, you probably got 5 matches, 10 guys, or a tag team or something like that mixed in along the way. So you would only get to see the guys, every few weeks. But you think of the main guys that's in NXT right now. This is sort of a special show because of the move. They really stacked it. But everybody wants to see Kenta. Everybody wants to see Kevin Steen. I apologize. I'm trying to nail these guys' names down. But when I think of their face, to talk about them in the video is the first one that comes out. But you want to see Finn Balor. You want to see Tyson Kidd. They're not going to be on all the shows. They're going to be scattered along the way. And even if you like the Divas, or I guess they're not called Divas in NXT, the women's division, Charlotte, Bayley, Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss, all of these girls are going to be sprinkled throughout. So, you might get to see Sasha Banks and her teammate come out there. But that's the only way. If it's the one girl on the outside, very rarely will you get to see both of them at the same time. But Tyson Kidd opened up the show wrestling against Finn Balor. Tyson Kidd came down to the ring, and then we got a big Finn Balor intro. Basically, with the intro, he didn't do the big paint up. There was a little part of me that thought he might do it, even though I had heard from the NXT tapings that these came from that he didn't do it the next night. He only did it for the live pay-per-view. Sort of ordeal, but I thought with them moving this over and him being in the opening match and it being one of the 3 matches that a lot of people are really hyped about, I was thinking that he was going to come out for it. He didn't do it, but right out of the gate, basically, Finn Balor runs from one side of the ring with a double drop kick, dropping Kidd right there, and then basically climbs up. After putting a little bit of beating on him, trying to get that double stomp right off the beginning, and it was a very fast, very impactful match right after the beginning. I thought this match was very, very good. After listening to the review away today, through the where the fuck was I going with that? But listening to the Law podcast with the review away, they talked about the Prince Devitt documentary that was on television over there in Ireland, and that was a great lead-in. Remembering how great that documentary was for this. I've never seen a Prince Devitt match before, the Arrival pay-per-view that was last month. And I thought that it was very, very good. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more. And when I heard that he was going to be wrestling Tyson Kidd on this show last week, I was really hyped for it. I thought this was going to be really, really good. But basically, Finn Balor took it to Tyson Kidd in the opening part of this match. Did the double drop kick right off the start, and then went up to the top rope where he was trying to get the double stomp off the top. Basically, Tyson Kidd was able to see this coming, and he ducked out of the ring going to the outside. Finn Balor, tried to do a running slide, trying to take out Tyson Kidd, but he was able to step to the side. And when he side kicked the baseball kick, basically, Devitt, I did it again. Finn Balor was thrown into the barricade, and basically the tide was turned from there to the point of Tyson Kidd was being on top. The point from that point, the match got a little bit of a slower pace to it. Finn Balor wasn't going 100 miles an hour with the start. I did think that the crowd was a little bit more quiet this time than it had been on the past shows. They were all hyped up for the hour-long pre-show. Half of the people going for Finn, half the people going for Tyson. But basically, you could hear a pin drop in that place. It was a little bit of excitement, but not like the other ones. Basically, Tyson Kidd took it to Finn Balor until there was a Pele kick that hit Kidd right in the head, dropped him down, and basically Finn was able to get back on the offensive thing. They went round. Kidd got a little bit of advantage, then it would go back and forth. There's a sharpshooter that Tyson Kidd was able to get on. Basically, he was able to reach the ropes and he was able to get out of it. From there, Finn was able to hit a DDT that dropped him enough to be able to hit the double stomp off the top. He got the 1-2-3 kid on Tyson Kidd, getting the big win, and everybody goes happy. From here, we got a few more big matches on this hour-long show, but you can already tell that this show is going to be pumped. We're going to be going into the Bull Dempsey match next, so we'll be checking that one out and seeing what goes on between him and Corbin. Next match tonight on the January 14th edition of WWE NXT. Of course, this is the night that NXT has moved from Thursday to Wednesdays, is going to be Bull Dempsey going up against Baron Corbin. This is going to be a big, important match. Both of these guys come into this match undefeated. Both of these guys win most of their matches in about a minute. So this is going to be one of those real fast-paced, I'm going to beat the crap out of everybody kind of matches. Before this went down, we heard Riley, Rich, and Renee all sort of talk over the commentary team, sort of saying what they thought was going to happen, who they were picking in this match. I know Renee Young was pulling for Baron Corbin, and then also Riley was going with Bull Dempsey. Before the match started, there was an interview in the back where basically Bull Dempsey said that Baron was the last of a dying breed, and once this match was over, the only thing he was going to hear is the crowd chanting, "Bull, Bull, Bull." Now, as both of these guys were coming down to the ring, I've only seen these guys wrestle each once, and that was both on the NXT pay-per-view that was a few weeks ago. No, I apologize. I saw Bull Dempsey wrestle a few months ago when I checked out NXT because they did the Adrian Neville versus Rob Van Dam match. I remember that was the first time I saw Dempsey. And I remember at that time, I don't think Kevin Steen had been signed. And I looked at Bull Dempsey and I was like, people say they won't sign Kevin Steen because of the way he looks, his size and things like that. And I look at Bull Dempsey and I look and I see the same thing. So it didn't really make sense to me. And now you sort of got Kevin Steen and you've got Bull Dempsey, two guys that are a lot alike. It looks like Kevin Steen, as Kevin Owens, is getting the huge push. Of course, he's sort of a part of the main event picture, and I think he's going to be coming up a little bit later in tonight's match against Adrian Neville and Sami Zayn. Definitely, he's laid both of these guys out, both on back-to-back shows. You would think he's going to come and sort of, put himself into the title picture by taking out both of these guys at the same time, interfering in the championship match. But I don't know. When I look at these guys, I like Bull Dempsey more right now. I know that I look at him, he doesn't have a whole lot to him, but he reminds me of an 80s style of wrestler. And with this show being a lot like Superstars, I think that's the reason why they've got this guy there. He just wears the singlet, goes out there, beats people up, and gets it done. When I look at Baron Corbin, I don't really understand who he is yet. He's got the full-on sort of chest tattoo. He wears the leather pants, this, that, and the other. I think that he's going to be the bigger star in the future, but you have to figure out what his story is and basically go from there. So this fight starts inside of the ring, and I'm looking for these guys that both beat the piss out of each other. As the brawl starts inside of the ring, the crowd starts chanting, but I can't remember what number it was when these guys both got the crowd to stop chanting. It just sort of died out after a time. But basically, these guys are throwing blows and they're punching. Baron Corbin is going to go for some sort of a move, and Bull Dempsey ducks and runs, trying to get away from this fight. It sort of seems like this is the first little breather that either one of these guys have taken in a match. Bull Dempsey gains an advantage of the match. Baron Corbin's laying down on the ground, and he goes up to the top rope to try and hit a diving headbutt. Dumb move. Bull eats nothing but the canvas there, and then Baron Corbin scoops him up and hits the end of days and gets a big win. I mean, Bull Dempsey losing for his first match. Baron Corbin beats his first real big competitor in NXT. I would like to see these guys go for it a little bit more. I was a little bit surprised we didn't get a disqualification, a count out. The match gets thrown out because the guys are brawling up the ramp into the back, or whatever it has to do to do it. But because this isn't a pay-per-view, this isn't an NXT special. It just happens to be that they moved SmackDown. I apologize. Yeah, I guess it all started, but they moved SmackDown, so they had to move NXT, and then TNA ran away scared to Fridays. But I don't know. This was a good match. I want to see more from these guys. How you can go from having one guy lose his first match into going back at it and wanting a rematch. It's a story that I want to see, and I'm looking forward to it. So NXT's doing a good job tonight. Of course, in this match, we had Baron Corbin getting the win over Bull Dempsey. All right, everybody. This is what a fucking wrestling show is supposed to be. This show is all over in an hour. January 14th edition of NXT. This show was awesome. NXT moving the show from Thursdays to Wednesdays. They went out of their way to pull out a great show to make sure if there was anybody who was used to watching wrestling on a Wednesday night, maybe if they were looking for Impact and they weren't able to find it and they wanted to watch live wrestling, they were able to turn on the WWE Network on their Apple TV or any other device, and they would have been able to watch it. Show kicked off with Tyson Kidd and Finn Balor, I guess. I was corrected by Zach on Twitter, but I'll get used to it in time. That was a great match. From there, you went to Corbin and Dempsey going at it. We had the girls go at it. We had Charlotte and Natalya go up against Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. That was a good tag match. Story of that one was that Sasha Banks was able to get the win over Charlotte. She was able to pin her right there in the middle of the ring. Get some momentum behind her, hopefully setting up another match. She can go for the championship. Of course, she lost at the NXT show, and then I started watching the Christmas show, and then when it was just showing the NXT Arrival show again, I just sort of gave up on it, even though there was a main event of Sasha Banks against Charlotte at the end. Of course, Ric Flair was going to be there in the corner of Charlotte. I just sort of just said, I'll watch this tomorrow, and I just never went back to it. So my guess, Charlotte's still showing up with the NXT Championship. She walked out of the match just fine. So that's sort of going to give her momentum, saying that she pinned the champion. Sasha Banks will go on from there, and then it ended up being the main event with Sami Zayn, your NXT champion, going against Adrian Neville. Beginning of the match, honestly, was very, very good, but very, very slow. Both of these guys have known each other and wrestled each other 1,000 times in their career. Basically, every time one guy went for a move, the other guy knew the move was coming and was getting out of the way. So there was not a lot of action with them hitting each other and going back and forth at it. Finally, there was a spot in the match, basically, where Adrian Neville, lost his cool for a second, and he shoved Sami, and the match came to an abrupt just stop, with both guys standing there looking at each other. Sami Zayn couldn't believe that Adrian Neville did it. Adrian Neville couldn't believe it himself. Would shove his friend like that, and Adrian Neville was apologizing, and Adrian Neville just sort of slouching there in the ring, just apologizing, and Sami said he was sorry too, and punched Adrian Neville right in the face. And from there, basically, the match got started back up again, and it was a little bit more physical in this time, but it was also about both of these guys knowing each other, basically with Sami Zayn doing his, I guess it sounds like the haluva. I don't even know what the fuck it's called, but he tried a big old fucking kick in the corner. And when he did this, basically Sami Zayn missed with Adrian Neville slipping out the back door. With Neville getting the advantage, he went up to do the red arrow off the top rope, and Sami Zayn was able to move out of the way. But the one cool thing that was about it was that when Sami Zayn moved out of the way, Neville really didn't screwed up that much, basically, because he knew that Sami Zayn was getting out of the way, so he was able to, coming off his flip, still able to recover and roll into a fighting position where he wasn't looking like a goof about to get beat up. Neville was able to counter it up and sort of get it into a roll-up, and he was almost going to be able to win the championship right there, to the point where the NXT announcers were calling him the new champion, Adrian Neville, and he kicked out. I can't believe it. It looked like, it was, going to be going Adrian Neville's way, and we're going to have a new champion. And then, almost out of the middle of nowhere, Sami Zayn was able to whip Adrian Neville into the corner, hit the big kick, and that was going to be it. The 1, 2, 3. They had a very long moment of Sami Zayn sort of, showing off the championship. They sort of do this to let the moment really sink in. But to have a match like this and do a review for you guys like this, you have to do this like right after. You can't sort of like think about the match for a little bit and then come on here and start talking about it. You're not going to remember really the moves that set up. It's going to get all mixed up in your mind, and you're going to go a little batshit crazy. So there was a couple times when the celebration just kept going on and on that I was going to hit pause, or I was even going to just press stop and never see it. But finally, Kevin Owens came running down to the ring. He attacked Sami Zayn and lets him lay in right there in the middle of the ring. He looked at the belt and he just sort of kicked it. Kevin Owens, it made it seem like he doesn't want the championship. He doesn't want the fame. He just wants to be known as the biggest ass kicker in NXT. I guess that's what it is. I don't think he really wants to put pain on Sami Zayn for any other reason that he wants to be known as the biggest, and he wants to be known as the best. It's almost like he knows that he has to beat the guy on top, and then he'll be the biggest guy in the yard. You don't really go in there and just start beating up the guys on the bottom. They're your local independent guys that are just there for the night. You don't come in there and beat jobbers. You go in there and you beat the NXT champion. People are going to be looking at you, and people are going to be knowing that you're the real deal. Basically, Owens was standing on top of Sami Zayn. He was standing on the neck, and just really disrespectful to him, and just let them lay in there in the middle of the ring. From there, the show ended, and we're going to see where we go. But I thought NXT was a really great show this week, and I'm really excited to see where they go from here. Like I said, I skipped the Christmas show that was after NXT Arrival. But then I watched last week. They had the Hideo Itami versus Curtis Axel match. That episode, wasn't the greatest, match selection. They were building up until this one. They didn't announce anything for next week, but I'm guessing that more than likely we're going to get some sort of a main event. And I'm going to love it. I honestly think this is the best television show that's on TV. And I encourage anybody who's out there who's watching this, make sure you go out of your way and you watch this as well. Peace out, everybody.